Welcome back to the Tooth Fairies Helper channel. Today's episode is going to be all about germs. So we'll talk about germs that live in our mouth, including bacteria and viruses, as well as germs that can live on our hands and other surfaces. What we can do to keep ourselves healthy, as well as those around us in our community, such as our friends and family. So come on in and join me. So let's start with talking about where germs live. Well, germs live everywhere. They live on our bodies, in our bodies, on every surface around us. Let's begin with our mouth. Germs live in our mouth, both bacteria and viruses. And these germs can make us sick as well as others. So here's a little fun fact that many people I find don't know. Did you know that Mr. Cavity Germ, just like any other germ, is contagious? That's right, cavity germs are contagious. So what that means is that we can spread cavity germs from one person to another. And how does that happen? How do you think? So cavity germs live in our mouth. So anything that touches your mouth or goes in your mouth should stay just to you. I oftentimes hear a saying, sharing is caring. And that is true for most things. It's nice to share with our friends and our siblings. It's a great way to be a good friend. But we don't want to share our germs. We want to keep our germs to ourselves and for everybody else to keep their germs to themselves. What we can do to not share those germs is to follow the do not share rule. Here is the general rule. If the item touches your mouth or goes in your mouth, it's going to be a do not share item because germs live in our mouths as well as others, and we don't want to spread those back and forth. First on the list is going to be toothbrushes. Everybody should have their very own toothbrush. This is a do not share item because it goes in our mouth, right? And we're brushing off the cavity germs and the germs that live in our gums. So you know that that is something we don't want to share back and forth. In fact, we should replace our toothbrushes about every 3 months or after being sick. So if you've been sick recently, go ahead and throw out your toothbrush and get a new one. Next on the list is going to be cups and straws. So when we're drinking, this has to go in our mouth, right? But we don't want to then go and put that in somebody else's mouth and have them share our germs or for them to share germs with us. So cups and straws are something that should be just to you, and again, you're not sharing. If we're not drinking after other people, we also aren't eating after other people. So we should have our own forks and spoons while we're eating. Now, a lot of times kids say, ooh, what if you wash them? Well, I love that because that tells me that you're helping out at home and doing your chores. Good job. All right, that's okay because once you've washed them with warm soapy water, you've washed the germs away. But while you're eating, once this goes in your mouth, it shouldn't go in anybody else's. So make sure to not share your utensils while you're eating. In the winter months, when it's dry outside, a lot of times we start carrying chapstick in our backpacks, in our purses. And so if you have a chapstick in your backpack, make sure that this stays just to you because where does it go? That's right, it goes on your lips. And the rule says if it touches your lips or goes in your mouth, it's a do not share item. So not just bacteria, but also viruses that can cause sores on your lips and your gums can live on surfaces like chapstick. So we don't want those things. So if you have a chapstick, it stays just to you. Now if a friend or somebody says, hey, can I borrow your chapstick? You have to say, I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to share my chapstick. Good job. There's one more thing that I've added to the list of do not share items in order to stay healthy. So now that we're all having to mask up, this is another thing that you should not share. So everybody should have their own mask. And some of them are disposable, and other ones are fabrics that you can wash. So it's a good idea to make sure that they're washed often, especially if they look soiled. You want to go ahead and wash that to stay healthy. And also making sure that we're not sharing those masks back and forth because they go over our nose and our mouth.
Okay, friends, one more thing. We can't forget about our hands.
To stay healthy, one thing we can do is practice good hand hygiene. So we want to wash our hands for 20 seconds with warm, soapy water. And the thing that gets rid of the germs the most is by the friction of rubbing your hands together. So make sure you're rubbing real good. Rub the tips, and the back of your hands, and all around for 20 seconds. Now you can count to 20, like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, or what I like to do is sing happy birthday 2 times. So I usually say, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. And I do that twice. It's important. Sometimes we get an itch on our eye, our nose, or our mouth, but we don't want to rub those things with dirty hands. So make sure that if you have an itch or something, that your hands are clean first before rubbing your eyes, your nose, or your mouth. Now, if you're not at home, you may not have soap and water. So what you can do is use a pump of hand sanitizer, and you still want to scrub for that 20 seconds until that sanitizer is dry. And then you have clean hands, and you can go ahead and itch that itch.
It's also important to wash your hands or use hand sanitizer for 20 seconds after rubbing your eyes, nose, or mouth to prevent spreading germs.
If we have to cough or sneeze, we cough or sneeze into our elbows, right? Not our hands, because if we cough or sneeze into our hand and then we go and we grab a door, we're spreading those germs to other people. So make sure you're coughing or sneezing into your elbow. If by chance you do happen to get it on your hands, please make sure to wash your hands really good with that warm soapy water for 20 seconds. If you're not around a sink, you can use a pump of hand sanitizer. We find hand sanitizer all over the place now. Make sure if your hands are dirty, not to touch your eyes, your nose, or your mouth. All right, wonderful job. Thank you guys for joining me on this lesson today.